They say the darkest places are not in the woods or on the streets, but in our minds. Our deepest fears can be more terrifying than any monster, from a creature with too many eyes to a killer with a taste for them. Here are 5 horror stories that will leave you breathless. No, 5. The Gate at the End of the World. A young woman named Alice found an old diary while cleaning out her grandmother's attic. The diary belonged to her grandmother when she was younger and chronicled her adventures traveling the world. There was one entry in particular that stood out to Alice. It detailed her grandmother's visit to a remote village in the Himalayas. The village was cut off from the rest of the world and its inhabitants had strange customs. They worshipped an ancient deity and believed the end of the world would bring about their salvation. Their most prized possession was a large iron gate that they claimed was a portal to another dimension. They believed that when the world ended, they would use the gate to escape to a better world. However, one day, a group of outsiders came to the village looking to steal the gate. A battle ensued and many villagers died. But before they all did, they hid the key to the gate deep within the mountains. The diary ended abruptly after this, leaving Alice with many questions. What happened to the villagers? Did the outsiders take the gate? And what was the other dimension like? Alice decided to go to the Himalayas and find the answers for herself. She tracked down the village and found it abandoned, but she also found the key to the gate. As Alice approached the gate, it began to glow and open. She could hear voices and music coming from the other side. Curiosity got the better of her and she stepped through. On the other side was a wasteland. Alice quickly realized that this was not a better world, but rather the end of all worlds. The air grew cold and she felt a presence behind her. When she turned around, she saw a gigantic, horrifying creature with many eyes staring directly at her. It lunged forward and Alice screamed. 4. The Doll in the Attic. Emma and her family moved into an old Victorian house in the suburbs. The house had been in Emma's family for generations, but no one had lived in it for years. It was filled with antique furniture and old family photos. As Emma explored the house, she noticed a locked door in the attic. She didn't think much of it and went back to her room to unpack. That night, Emma couldn't sleep. She kept hearing strange noises coming from the attic. She got out of bed and went to investigate. As she approached the attic door, she could hear scratching and shuffling sounds. Suddenly, the door creaked open and Emma gasped. In the dim light, she could see a rocking chair moving by itself. She watched in horror as the chair rocked back and forth, faster and faster. Then she saw something sitting in the chair. It was an old doll, and it seemed to be smiling at Emma. Emma screamed and ran out of the attic. She tried to forget about the doll, but she kept seeing it in her nightmares. One day, Emma decided to confront her fear. She went back to the attic to find the doll, but when she got there, it was gone. She searched the entire house, but the doll was nowhere to be found. Days turned into weeks, and Emma finally started to relax. Then one night, Emma was awoken in the middle of the night by loud footsteps. She got out of bed and walked to the attic door. As she opened the door, she saw a dark figure standing in the corner. It was the doll, and as Emma watched in horror, it began to walk towards her. 3. The Vanishing Hitchhiker. A man was driving home late one night when he saw a young woman hitchhiking on the side of the road. He pulled over and offered her a ride. As they drove, the man noticed that the woman seemed to be getting colder and more distant. He asked her if she was sure she wanted to hitchhike, and if she didn't want him to drive her somewhere else. The woman replied in a distant voice that she was fine. The man shrugged and continued driving. After a while, the man stopped at a gas station to stretch his legs. He told the woman she was welcome to get out and walk around. She thanked him and got out of the car. The man went inside to pay for gas, and when he came out, the woman was gone. He looked around for her, but she had vanished without a trace. The man went back inside to call the police. When he came out, he noticed something. The woman's backpack was still sitting on the ground next to the car. He picked it up and looked inside. It was empty. The police never found the woman, and the man was left with more questions than answers. Was she a ghost? Was she kidnapped? Or was something more sinister at play? Number 2. The House on the Hill. A group of teenagers decided to explore an abandoned house on the hill. The house had been abandoned for years and was rumored to be haunted. As they explored the house, they found old furniture and personal belongings left behind by the previous owner. They also found a locked room in the basement. One of the teenagers, Jake, decided to try and break in. While Jake was trying to pick the lock, the others heard a noise above them. They looked up and saw a floorboard collapse. Suddenly, a dark figure emerged from the hole. The teenagers screamed and ran away. As they were running, they could hear heavy footsteps behind them. They didn't dare look back. When they finally stopped, they turned around and saw that the house was gone. They were in the middle of a dense forest, and there was no sign of the house or the dark figure. Had they been in the house the whole time? What was the dark figure, and where did the house go? Number 1. The mirror. A young woman named Sarah found an antique mirror at a yard sale. The mirror was ornately carved and had an eerie glow. Sarah brought the mirror home and hung it in her bedroom. That night, Sarah was awoken in the middle of the night by a loud crash. She got out of bed and went to investigate. She found that the mirror had fallen off the wall and shattered on the floor. But that wasn't the strange part. As Sarah looked around the room, she noticed that everything was covered in a thin layer of dust. But the mirror had somehow been perfectly clean. Sarah was scared to touch the mirror, but she needed to clean up the mess. As she picked up the shards, she'd cut herself. Blood trickled down her finger, and when she looked closely, she noticed that it wasn't her blood. It was black. Suddenly, the room grew cold, and Sarah felt a presence behind her. She turned around and saw a woman standing in the corner. The woman was pale and had a dark, sinister smile. Sarah screamed and the woman vanished. Every night after that, the woman appeared in the mirror, beckoning Sarah to come closer. Sarah was terrified, but she couldn't resist the woman's call. As Sarah reached out to touch the mirror, she felt a sharp pain in her chest. She looked down and saw a small cut, and when she looked closely, she saw that it was filled with black blood. Sarah collapsed, and the last thing she saw was the woman's smiling face. Which story scared you the most? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more terrifying tales. See you next time. Do you ever feel like your home should be your sanctuary? A place where you can lock the door, draw the curtains, and just relax in the knowledge that you're safe inside? Well, if you do, then prepare to have that feeling ripped away from you, because today we are looking at the darkest corners, 5 horror stories that will leave you breathless.